This video is brought to you by a speck of dust on my nose. Chris Hemsworth described Love and Thunder as the type of movie a 7-year-old would make. And he was right. What's crazy is that while there have been movies that have not been great, like The Dark World, or ones that wanted to take Thor's character in a direction with good intent, but weird execution, like Endgame, this is the first movie where I hated Thor. And I hate saying that because Thor became my favorite MCU character during Infinity War. I was a Thor stan. I loved this dude and his journey, I felt his pain, and I loved how he used humor to hide his true feelings, which makes him being all funny in Ragnarok make so much more sense. But no, Love and Thunder came around and... Now let me play for you a montage of Thor's stay in the MCU.
Let me explain to Father.
Father is dead.
What?
Was that a bad thing, finding out that you don't have all the answers?
Another!
You start asking the right questions.
For the first time, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. I believe that fate brought us together.
This is goodbye, brother. I'm so sorry.
I am sorry. I know we failed you, but we can make this right. Loki, I thought the world of you. I thought we were going to fight side by side forever, but at the end of the day, you're you and I'm me. I know maybe there's still good in you, but let's be honest, our paths diverged a long time ago. Rage and vengeance, anger, loss, regret, they're all tremendous motivators. They really clear the mind, so I'm good to go.
He's the toughest there is.
You know, I'm 1,500 years old. I've killed twice as many enemies as that, and every one of them would have rather killed me, but none succeeded. I'm only alive because fate wants me alive. Thanos is just the latest in a long line of bastards, and he'll be the latest to feel my vengeance. Fate wills it so. I'm not as strong as you.
You're stronger.
Everyone fails at who they're supposed to be, Thor. The measure of a person, of a hero, is how well they succeed at being who they are.
Mic is really close to my head, okay. What's funny is that the character is meant to be 1,500 years old, and he's probably the most immature character in the entire MCU. Kamala Khan in Ms. Marvel is more mature than this dude. How? Forgetting about the fact that they're just retreading the same story of Thor trying to find his place after not being king. You know, the story of the first Thor. Thor in this movie is a massive fucking idiot. You know how Chris Pratt's Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy is a charming douche? He's an ass, for sure, but he always makes up for it. Thor has no qualities to make up for it in this movie. He makes Star-Lord look competent and put together, and it's not like Thor matures throughout the movie. He's the same character in the beginning of the movie as he is at the end of the movie. Thor is on this journey of self-discovery. The literal beginning of this movie is about how he doesn't know what he's supposed to be, and he never discovers this for himself. From start to finish, Thor is the same character. A child is just thrust into his care by the end, as if that's supposed to mean something. I don't care about this kid. I'll talk about that later on, but all I'll say here is that Thor is written so out of character that he reads like Taika Waititi. When I say that, I'm not kidding around. I think Taika Waititi just self-inserted himself as Thor in this movie. You know the movie Free Guy and how Taika Waititi in that movie is a character that's just this unbearable, unfunny asshole for the entire duration of the film?
Taika Waititi is riffing on a level that is freaking sublime.
Make an original game.
Make it original? Why would I do that when I can make a sequel? Who's the best martial artist in the whole wide world? Steven Sequel.
Yeah, for some reason, the entirety of Love and Thunder gives me that energy. But even if he's not self-inserting himself, which I think he is, Taika is still there in person for most of the movie, as Korg. The most annoying character in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now give me a second. I'll talk about plot and everything in a bit. I really need a second to just insult Korg. Korg in this movie is fucking nothing. If he was fully removed from this movie, nothing would change. His fake out death would value more than his life. In basic story classes, they tell you that if you have a random character around that doesn't affect the story at all, just don't have them in the story. Or if you really want them, add them for a bit, but not for the whole thing. A tip would be if there's a side character in your story that's useless and another one that is useful, maybe combine both to get the best of both worlds. But no, Korg is in this entire movie and he says the most unfunny jokes for his entire duration. He's like, let me whistle. That's not it. 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 Shut the fuck up. That's a bit. I'm not actually that mad. It just feels like a very passionless movie. Like Taika, oh, Marvel's gonna bring me back. Okay, I'm gonna take all that money and just, get the gang back together. Fuck around with my friends and then, oh yeah, I guess I'll have to make a movie during that time, And you can tell that he just didn't care. Does that look real?
In that particular shot, no, actually. See this shot? When I go, it's because it used to be when he would wake up. That was my reaction.
I never noticed it.
And don't get me wrong, I love Taika Waititi's work. Hunt for the Wilder People, amazing. Jojo Rabbit, phenomenal. I cried like a little bitch. But this one, he does not care about Thor. He really doesn't. I don't want to sound like I'm talking out of my ass, so on the Empire Film Podcast Spoiler Special, he said, here's the thing about me, guys. I did not really do my research. I read one issue of Thor as my research. Not even a graphic novel, one of the thin ones. And by the end of it, I was like...
well, we're not doing that. So, let's not really look at those anymore. Cool art. I love the art. But, of course. Man, I can't stand the way everyone talks. So, yeah.
This is actually really funny because I can't stand the way everyone talks. Is how I feel about Love and Thunder. But that's to Marvel's credit. They were very supportive in bringing me in and saying we can't keep doing the same thing. Let's go in a wildly new direction. Let's hire a New Zealander to do this for a start. They were trying to Ragnarok the whole franchise really, and they failed because the film's really popular now. A shit ton of people on this channel love Spider-Man. I would know. Now imagine if John Watts said this about Spider-Man. Yeah, I read one issue of Spider-Man. It was really it was a free comic book day issue. Yeah, and I didn't really like it. I didn't like how they talked. I didn't like his powers either. Like, dude. When someone makes art, in this case a film, you're supposed to care. That's the whole point. Art is something incredibly personal. Maybe Taika was like, I can't get that when working under the Marvel machine or something. So he just didn't even try. And if he doesn't care about Thor, then hey, you could say he may be doing it for the fans, right? But to be honest, I think the dude was so focused on the negative reception of Thor Ragnarok, despite it being like, a highly praised movie, that he just went like, nah, fuck you, I'm gonna make Love and Thunder even weirder. That'll piss him off. Like he said on Thor, I want to show him in a light that most Thor fans wouldn't really want if you were gonna tell them. If you were to say, yeah, I'm gonna make Thor in love, it's probably the last thing a Thor fan really wants to hear. The first two Thor movies had romance in them. Romance is a major key point in Thor's journey in both. From what I remember, what people wanted was more mythology and more realms and species and magical powers and shit. When you're talking about Thor fans, who are you arguing against? Is it that Twitter account with 5 followers again? Now look, if this sounds like I'm criticizing Taika Waititi, that's because I am. And I'm not done yet. Now for some reason, the movie doesn't trust the audience enough to realize what the story is so far, and it just recounts all of Thor's previous adventures through a narration by Korg. Because Taika has to be everywhere in this movie. But by the end of the movie, Thor still has not really gone through any journey of self-discovery. The only characters that I feel truly went on a journey, I'd say, are Jane and Gore. But Jane more so, because wow, she literally decided that saving people and being a hero is more important than her own life. She succumbs to cancer and dies the mighty Thor, and wow, I wish this movie was about Jane. This movie should have been called The Mighty Thor and just been a Jane movie. She still could have died by the end of it, by the way, but it would have worked so much better if she was the star. Because Thor's journey is about him learning about himself, but then, oh wait, gods are being killed? Aw man, I gotta stop the person that's killing these gods. But wait, it's not about gods that I care about being killed anymore? Cause now children are captured? But wait, I'm actually in love with my hammer? But wait, I'm actually in love with Jane? But wait, nobody in the movie cares about the gods dying, and we never feel the repercussions of them dying. So why should I, as an audience member, care? Now, as I briefly mentioned, Thor has a romantic subplot with Mjolnir and Stormbreaker. And oh my god, this is where I get pissed off. In this movie, the guy is more interested in getting back together with his hammer than anything else, despite the fact that the hammer is giving Jane Foster, the woman he claims he loves, strength and power. Power she's using to save people. This could have been handled one of two ways. Forget the weapon love triangle subplot. Thor could either be happy that Jane has the hammer, because that means that they can now go superheroing together. This mortal woman is now as powerful as him. This is a huge opportunity for Thor to reclaim his love, I guess. Or two, he could hate that Jane has the hammer because it means that she'll now be a part of his superheroing life no matter what. But in the movie, Thor's only just surprised and then confused and then jealous at Mjolnir, and it's really odd and does nothing but make him look like an asshole. And what frustrated me the most was that they didn't even let Jane be worthy. I do not care if Thor at some point in the movie goes, oh yeah, you're worthy because the hammer chose you or some shit, because the movie refutes this by showing us that Thor told Mjolnir to keep Jane safe and protect her if shit gets bad. And that's so fucked. Thor made Jane worthy. And I thought in this movie, Thor was gonna remember, oh my god, I told Mjolnir to protect Jane. And that's what it's doing. And she's kicking ass. And you know what? She should keep the hammer. And I thought that would close off the hammer arc, and that would close off their relationship. And she survives, I guess. She's able to survive. But no, they kill her off, and then he keeps the hammer, and he gives Stormbreaker to the little girl. Like, what the fuck? The movie spends no time with Jane actually living with cancer. We never really see how it affects her as a person. We just see her as the romantic interest that is dying, and how much that's affecting Thor. For a movie that's so focused on being about romance to confuse the Thor fans, y'all sure don't give a shit about developing the romantic leads, because we see Thor and Jane's relationship through flashbacks. It's like a minute-long scene of exposition, narrated by guess fucking who? Korg. Fuck.
That's a bit. I'm not actually that mad.
The movie's honestly embarrassing. They try to replicate the immigrant song scene from Ragnarok to no avail. They have the only two LGBTQ characters have representation where they talk about their love lives for like max 2 minutes in a scene that's almost designed to be edited out for international releases. The kids getting powers and everything is also super cringe. The whole movie's childish, and you can't even use the argument that it's meant to be for kids because there's so many movies out there that are made for younger audiences that are just a quadrillion times better than this movie. And hey, despite supposedly Marvel giving him free reign, if Taika really felt restricted, if he felt passionless for not only the MCU but for Thor, then I feel for him. But then at the same time, unless you're under contract, maybe give the director role to somebody that actually wants it. I thought Ant-Man and the Wasp was the worst MCU film, but no. I have now found my new least favorite MCU flick. So let's give it up for Thor Love and Thunder, everyone. Yeah. Thor the Dark World is better. Thanks so much everyone for watching the video. Make sure to check out Interstellar Ranger Commence. The first episode is out on the channel, and the second episode is in the works. It's coming out very soon. Speaking of IRC, thanks so much Zandre Short for the fan art. These OCs of yours are looking really cool. I love how you interpreted the suits. Super amazing work. Thank you so much. Thanks so much patrons for supporting the channel as well. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and videos like this are made possible because of you. So if you want to help out the channel and everything it does, consider joining the Patreon. And remember, if you subscribe and turn on notifications, you'll officially have a spot at the table. That's right, you will have a chair. Having a chair and becoming part of the Browntable means that you will literally have the powers of Thor. Remember the scene where Thor just gives little kids powers? Yeah, so essentially, that'll be you. Forget about being worthy. You are just now absolutely cracked. Thanks so much everyone for coming to the table, and I'll see you all next time.